Hi, Yusofian. Welcome to the 2025 JCRC by-elections rally. Sequence of today's events are as follows. Firstly, we will be introducing our candidate for his role, and his proposer will be giving his speech, followed by the candidate who will give his speech too. We will then end off with a Q&A segment. First, let me introduce our only candidate for Sports Director Internal this year. We have Freeborn, who is studying Business Administration. Freeborn is currently in Year 2, and these are his past commitments. We will now invite Ting Hui, his proposer, to give his speech.
Hey. Hi everyone, I'm Ting Hui, and I'll be proposing for Freeborn to take up the role of sports director. I've worked with Freeborn as a fellow captain, and after talking with him for a while, I see that he's able to understand his team well, and I've learned from him with regards to managing a sports team. With him being in multiple sports for both year 1 and 2, as well as being the convening captain for Ulti this year, he's familiar with the logistics of managing a sports team, as well as the demands of a captain. This is something I believe he can contribute towards the next batch of captains for Eusoff. I find Freeborn to be a very personable person, someone that I can go to for advice and mentorship. He's willing to speak up for others, and I feel that he will be able to stand up for future captains and the overall sporting scene in Eusoff. He's also open to learning new things, i.e. Bash of last year, and he's not afraid to give his all and work with other people. Above all, he's a very good friend to me. Ultimately, he cares for Eusoff sports, checking up with other captains about their sports and following the ISG this year quite closely. He's incredibly invested in the success of our sports, and hence I'm nominating Freeborn as Eusoff Sports Director.
Thank you, Ting Hui. Now, let's invite Freeborn to give his speech.
Hi everyone, I'm Freeborn and I'm running to be your next sports director of Eusoff. Some of you may know me as the current Ultimate Frisbee captain, but beyond that, I'm someone who truly calls Eusoff home. This hall isn't just where I sleep or eat. To me, Eusoff is where I've grown, where I've trained, and where I've been given the space to hone my talents, not just as an athlete, but as a leader and a teammate. Eusoff has shaped me, and now I want to give back by helping shape the future of Eusoff sports. I'm running for sports director because I believe in the power of sports to unite, uplift, and inspire. I've seen how trainings can turn strangers into teammates and how one win or even one loss can build hall pride. My vision? To lead Yusoff back to IHG victory. I believe that this upcoming year is a crucial year for Yusoff in order to capitalize on our first IHG win in 5 years. This past year, we managed to get the strongest intake of talent in the last few years, and that was crucial to us winning IHG. In order to build on this strong foundation, I intend to push recruitment and bring in another strong batch of freshies. I also want to ensure that everyone, whether you're a seasoned athlete or someone just starting out, feels like there's a place for you on the field and in the Yusuffian committee. Here's how I plan to do it. First, I'll work closely with all the captains and SMC heads to ensure consistent communication, stronger support, and aligned goals. Secondly, by collaborating with our FMs early and often to secure key facilities and give our teams the time and space to prepare. And thirdly, by increasing inclusivity in Yusof sports through open training sessions at the start of the AY to empower Yusofians to discover their hidden talents. Because at the end of the day, Yusof sports isn't just about competition. It's also about community and having fun. And I'm ready to lead, serve, and to push us to even greater heights, but together. So if you believe in that same Yusof spirit, one of grit, of passion, and of family, I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeborn. We will now have a 3 minutes intermission and we'll be back for the Q&A session after. Hi, welcome back to the JCRC rally. We will now be starting the Q&A segment. I will first open the floor for any questions. Meanwhile, feel free to post questions in the Mentimeter by scanning the QR code. These questions will be read later. Now, I will open the floor up for questions.
Hello, can I ask a question? Hi, I'm Andrea. Okay, thank you for stepping up, Freeborn. So I want to ask you a question. What do you think is one thing that me and Bowie could have done better as sports Ds?
I feel like this year there was a lot of emphasis by you guys on IHG. So I feel like because of maybe the time that you guys had spent on like preparing for IHG or preparing all the captains for IHG, it's possible that the events that are run by sports, maybe like let's say example IHG closing, there was a bit less emphasis on that. So then because of that, maybe the participation levels were not as high or wasn't as publicized as much. So as sports director, hopefully I'll be able to learn from that and then try to get a bit more participation in events for run by sports in Yusof.
Thank you. Can I ask another question? My last question. So given that we won IHG this year, like what are the other areas, like maybe can name one area that you think can be improved on, like in the sports scene, and like how do you plan to improve on it?
I think one area we can improve on is probably support, I would say. Support for our because we are all okay. Let's say I'm talking from an athlete perspective. I feel like a lot of us we when we are playing for IHG, we really appreciate when people come down to support our games. And I feel like what we could do better is that we go and try support when people support our games, we go and support other people's games. So like I think, for example, for what I noticed during IHG, one hall that does that very well is Temasek. And I don't like to compare, but sometimes I feel like their support is some better than ours. When it comes to after the games, especially. So like after the games, I noticed that we like to once the game's over, we're like, okay, game's over, let's go. But I think what they like to do a lot better is they stay back. They regardless of the result, they will still cheer for you. Yeah. So I think that's one thing we could improve on as a whole.
Okay, thank you so much. That's my only questions. Thank you.
Hi, Freeborn.
Hi, Jerica.
I'm Jerica. So, three questions from me. So the first question would be, what most people would think when you run in the by-elections, which is why you didn't choose to run in the elections and instead chose to run in the by-elections.
I think one of the reasons why I ran in the by-elections instead of the first elections that I wanted to make sure that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be more prepared for what it takes to be part of JCRC. So during the first round, I still wasn't 100% sure whether like this is really what I want. And I took the week since the first round to think more about like learn more about the role, learn more about what I can bring to the JCRC as well. Yeah. So I wanted to prepare since the first election.
Okay. Then, so you're stepping up to run for the sports D role. So I would like to ask you how important you think winning IHG is to you, and how do you think that um IHG plays a role, or winning IHG plays a part in our Yusof Hall spirit? if you're not sure, can clarify. So there's two parts to the question. The first one is how important is winning IHG to you? And then the second part of the question is how do you think winning IHG plays a part in our Yusof Hall spirit?
I think for me, winning IHG is definitely important, but it's not the fact of getting the gold medal, I feel. But it's more for what the gold medal represents to each and every one of the athletes. To me, like winning the gold medal is just it's a testament of like how hard we train throughout the year. And because like let's say we are maybe 1 year we are underdogs. Like let's say example we are underdogs, but we train like damn hard to win. It's always more satisfying, and that's why I feel like it's important to me because it shows the amount of work that we put in throughout the year. Next part is how does winning play a part in our Yuso spirit, is it?
Yes.
I feel like okay, because okay, I'm always part I only play team sports. So I feel for me this is more directed towards team sports in a sense. But I feel like going for trainings with your teammates is what builds hall spirit a lot. It's like going for trainings from 9 to 11, even though you got submissions the next day. And it's just going for trainings all the time with your teammates. You see, maybe you got a new freshie come in, that you see them improve throughout the year. It means a lot to us. And I think just seeing all this and seeing how hard we work during IHG, especially when we're playing during IHG, especially maybe finals, you see the amount of effort that we go, how much grit we have during the games. Uh, and seeing all your friends cheer for you on the sidelines, it helps build the Yusof spirit.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. So sorry, one last question from me is just now in your speech you mentioned that you want to ensure that we will continue to have a good intake of freshies. So my question to you would then be how do you think that you'll be able to ensure a good intake of freshies next year?
Okay. So this is something I already thought about. So if I do get elected, I plan to try and find out because freshie applications are starting soon already. So coming from my experience last year as the captain, I already knew that the reason why we lost to Temasek when I was year one was that I felt like we just didn't have a good intake of frisbee people. So immediately after IHG had ended for me, like in year one, and I knew I was really going to become the captain, I went and asked like, okay, because I'm not very involved in the overall LT scene. So I went and asked everyone I knew, like, oh, do you know any people coming NUS who can play frisbee? I just kept on asking. That's why you can see every single one of the frisbee juniors brought in this year are like national team for some reason. And I feel like so after if I do get elected, I'll talk to all the captains and then push for recruitment. Tell them to ask all the strong people coming to NUS whether they want to come into Yusof.
Okay, thank you. So that's all the questions from me. But Ashley is unable to make it, but she has a question. So Ashley is the current PAD. So Ashley's question is that what is your view on taking given the whole point situation this year, what is your view on the importance of taking attendance and rewarding attendance points more strictly based only on attendance?
Sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Okay, so given the whole situation with the points this year, right, there was a problem that was raised, which is that according to the CCA booklet, it should be 7 points for attendance and then 3 points for performance in IH 3 points for for playing IHG and then up to three more for your performance in IHG. But attendance has not been taken properly, so most of our athletes are getting max attendance points even if they do not go for all the trainings. So what is your view on taking attendance properly? Like how strictly should this be followed and whether it is appropriate to reward points, like the attendance points only on attendance next year?
I think it's definitely important to look at the attendance when rewarding all these points. Same way, if I'm not wrong, DP also has attendance points as well, right? If I'm not wrong. So I think it'll be quite important. I will have to next year. I have to talk to the TMs as well, especially make sure that points like the attendance is taken properly, and we are also able to reward it. But one thing that that I think that we also have to think about is that by the nature of a lot of our athletes being from multiple sports, sometimes trainings clash at the same time. So it's also a bit hard to differentiate, like maybe you're going for this training but you cannot go for the other training. So I think that's something that we also have to consider when talking about attendance.
Okay, thank you. That's all from me. Okay, if nobody else want to ask question, I got one more question. So just now you mentioned that you want to ensure that all the freshies taken in have like good experience and are good, which is very valid from a sports standpoint. But I think one thing that the JCRC realized this year was that sometimes when these athletes are very good, they are not as committed to hall because they have like external trainings, external teams, and then like they cannot put in as much effort into hall. So how do you think you will balance like taking in good athletes versus like average athletes who are more like committed to hall? Oh, or how will you ensure that your national athletes are also committed to hall? Like, what will you choose to do when, how will you choose to balance like good athletes and then like making them investor in hall? Yeah.
Um, I feel like for me, right, for what I did is that so for my frisbee freshies that came in this year, a lot of them are national team. So um knowing that they all have this like they all have national team commitments, I also have to try and encourage them, like tell them like why it's important to, because every year, like maybe if, let's say all of them decide, oh, it's okay, I'm a star athlete, I can just master list. End of the day, there's only like so many people who can get master list for a single spot. So like obviously I'll tell them this, and I'll encourage them to like join different stuff lah, like try out new sports. I tell because I'm in truck as well. I tell my freshies like, oh, maybe you can try out truck, try join comps, help boost your points in overall. Then hopefully they're able to stay as well, become more committed to hall. I feel like it also helps if a lot of seniors if a lot of seniors encourage, like especially the captains encourage your freshies to like join different sports, like try out different sports. Like you never know, you could be good at it as well.
Okay. Okay, but as sports D, how do you think you would do this?
Uh, so comparing myself as a captain versus being as a sports D, I would be as the sports D. I will talk to the different captains and try and emphasize this as well, of encouraging whoever they put in, like to try out new stuff as well.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more questions from the floor? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the Mentimeter questions. Okay, so the first question is asking basically, so this question asker feels that our IHG closing was a little bit smooth as compared to TH's. So how are you going to enforce the spirit of increased competitiveness during our closing next year? Reborn?
Yes, I'm thinking about this. Okay, obviously, I don't think it's possible to have a slip and slide within Yusoff lah. I feel like as Yusoffians, we have to get more excited in a sense about winning, I feel. Maybe I think maybe there's ways to make the IHG closing event more fun for Yusofians. Maybe we could have like band performances, more food, more drinks. But obviously this I'll have to talk to the band heads or like have to liaise a lot with the SMC. But I feel like this year we also like one of the ways that this year we did get competitive was when we had the captain's briefing, we were told that whoever wins get Haidilao, Lao, and I think everyone got very excited about that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So for the next question, who is your favorite sports D? Can be from any year, and maybe why, what about them do you like, and what would you like to emulate from that sports D?
This is a bit of a biased question, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like every single sports D has traits that we could envision from lah. Like I feel like I wish I could be as good a badminton player as Chong Hon Lek, but I'm not lah. But yeah, I will refrain from saying who my favorite was.
Okay. So for the next question, what is your master list criteria? Like, what do you look at and what do you consider? And now that there's a new sports house, which is Valor House, how are you going to attract the good athletes to come to Yusof and not Valor?
I feel like for master list, what I would envision someone who is eligible for master list would be someone who is a key player in a lot of like, okay, either let's say a key player in multiple sports or a star player in one sport. That is what I would say for sports is a decent criteria for who would be eligible for master list. In the sense of valor, personally, I think it only really incentivize for me. I would think it only incentivizes like it doesn't. Okay, so valor is a house, so it doesn't have hall culture. The way to incentivize people to come to Yusof instead of valor is the fact that we have hall culture. Yeah, and like they're able to try out new things rather than just stick to that one spot, which I think is something that Yusof is very good at. We encourage a lot of sports inclusivity. So yeah.
Okay. Freeborn can join DP?
If
I
I
think
had
just a yes or no will suffice.
a yes or no, if I had time,
Okay. Okay, I will refrain from asking this question. Everyone, would you like to answer the previous question on who your favorite sports is?
I am unbiased.
Okay, move on to the next question then. Okay, so Freeborn, the next JCRC as of now is culture heavy. So how do you plan to have a good balance between culture and sports, for example, for venues?
Hmm. I feel like for this I will have to work very closely with the PAD Akshata because of okay, obviously as a sports director, I'll make it a priority to ensure that sports gets whatever. I will fight as hard as I can for sports. But obviously I will deconflict with Akshata because they'll need it for DP. They'll need venues like the FH for DP practices, and we'll need the FH for like floorball and table tennis. So yeah, I'll just have to talk with Akshata again a lot, I guess.
Okay. So for the next question, uh, I don't think I'll be asking this question. Okay, so given the rift between culture and sports, what measures will you be taking to bridge this gap? And are you looking forward to look with the PAD? You can expand on your previous answer, or if you have nothing to add, you can just give a brief summary.
Um, I feel like the way to build what is this given the in order to bridge this gap, right? I feel like it just comes all down to supporting our friends, I guess. Um, maybe you are not like super incentivized to join dance. Like I won't fault anyone for that. I never joined DP, but I've always been there to support DP and DU during all their performances. I think it's just supporting your friends in Eusoff in general. Yeah.
Okay. So how will you make more people go watch games? And sometimes even if people go watch games, they never really cheer. So how do you think we can fix this issue?
Um, I think for this, I'll have to I think one thing that was done very good last year is we had a very strong spirits head in Jaya where he's just damn loud. So I think it helps if there's more drums, uh more enthusiastic people from more enthusiastic spirits, more enthusiastic crowds. Yeah. And how to make more people go watch games. I would say is honestly it's just you have to support your friends. I feel like that's just something we should be doing lah. Like if you have friends, go support them.
Okay. We will skip this question. Okay, if you could choose anyone to be your sports day external, who you choose and why?
I would choose Ethan Go to be my sports D external.
Okay, next question. How are you going to support sports that captains and members have less connections with freshies or national players?
Uh, hmm. I feel like for this, okay, so let's say example for truck. I would say there's not a lot of connection that we have between like it's very hard to find people for truck in the sense that truck is just not a sport that guys play in JC. So for these sports, I feel like it all comes down to training, and maybe it's possible to like try and get more people to join the sport in general, and then be able to see out who has like honestly no one played truck in Eusoff before coming into Eusoff. So it's like you just have to find the people from freshies joining Eusoff and joining as a second sport, that kind. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Freeborn. The last three questions are not really questions, so I will be skipping them. Voting will start tonight at midnight and will end tomorrow at 2359. We will now take a 5 minutes break before the start of Blockheads Rally.